what's been the most challenging part of working with clients?
Number one is unrealistic expectations when it comes to like timeline. Clients want to see their beauty now. Bros, unless you want to see something that is very like superfluous and fundamentally weak, you need to give it time to cook. Then another thing is budget. You know, people want like a Gucci product but want to give you like a Temu budget.
Why table? Why table?
To be an artist, you really need to get immersed in your craft. You really need to understand who you are as a person, what you're trying to say, what works for you, what stories you're telling, and how to tell the stories. It's not something you can just do all willy-nilly. It's something very, very serious. To be an architect as well, it demands the same level of dedication. In fact, they're like twins, art and architecture. It's just that art is very more expressive and architecture is more technical. When it comes to architecture, there's a point where you stop dreaming and you start being very like practical about what you're doing. But for art, you mustn't do that. If you want to be practical about art, is in the very beginning, do your research, understand what you're talking about, and then leave it. Let your intuition flow. Don't think about anything, just do it.
So at what point did you pivot into digital art?
I saw us as a drawing. I was like, my eyes just opened. Like, what am I seeing right now? The thing about traditional art for me that I didn't really like is that you have all these papers, you have all these materials that you have to keep carrying up and down. And then it sort of called me to sort of try and see if I could do a cover for this up and coming musician called Rema. I mean, then it was up and coming.
Then,
you know? Yeah, I did like a lot of very abstract concepts, a lot of sketches, and it was just a thing where they're like, okay, nice. Can we have another one? It was just something that it was like a flash of an image in my head, which is honestly how I get a lot of my ideas. It's just flashing in my head. I just have to think and be like, okay, what was that? So that flash came in my head, and I just went to go and draw it, and I just sent it to them, and I just got the feedback like, yeah, perfect. And that's how we started.
Just a quick message before we dive into today's episode. I found something interesting in our data which showed that only about 25% of our viewers are actually subscribed to the channel. If you've been enjoying the content that we're creating, if you've been finding it exciting or learning something new, I have a little favor to ask of you. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, as it goes a long way in helping us deliver more exciting episodes like this and create more valuable content. You're amazing.
Many people don't know you as QVX, but I mean, I call you QVX, and that's so easy. But yeah, how do you even pronounce that? Do you say Qvxdri or do you say QVX?
I just say Qvxdri. I think the thing is just there's a different spelling. And it happened like a long time ago, and I just kind of stuck with it from a branding point of view. But it's still just Qvxdri. But I like QVX as well. A lot of my close friends call me QVX.
It's just like how you guys call me FJ.
Exactly.
And how most people still refuse to call me Mo, even though I say it's Mo.
It's hard to pivot, man. Like people get used to something like that, and then it's hard to pivot.
I don't also push it. Like if you call me whatever you call me. But yeah, excited to hear from you, bro. So tell me what's going on with you. Where is your headspace right now? 2025. Where are you at?
2025. I'm just trying to like, I guess, recover and recoup from like a lot of the things that happened in 2024. It was a big year for me, and it was a big year in terms of like what I got to do and also all of the lessons I got to learn. And it was sort of about like taking from those lessons and trying to like be better. So 2025, I guess for me, it's just like, you know, I guess springboarding from all of that experience and then trying to take myself to somewhere high.
Wow, amazing. So just for our viewers, QVX has done so many things, like I said. So when he says 2024 was a big year, I'm sure he has more to share, you know, in terms of what really happened in that year. Personally, we both know what some of the things that you did, but do you mind sharing some of the experiences in 2024?
Yeah, actually, I will. 2024 was like actually sort of my breakout year. It was a year of a lot of firsts.
Okay.
So obviously I've been an artist for like as long as I can remember. Even if it was a hobby, something I've always done. I didn't really see it as a pathway to anything, but it was just something that it was always been a part of my story. And literally 2024 was the first time I ever like showed my work in a fair, like an art fair. And this was like my digital and traditional painting. So that was big for me. And it was something I actually worked towards. Like from the beginning of the year, when I saw that there was this opportunity, I was like, you know what, I need to make this happen. So like while I was doing architectural works like PPs and jobs on the side, I would after that go and set up my my easel, set up my paints, start doing the work. There was literally no moment of rest in the beginning of 2024 for me. And I think at the end of the day, it all paid off. And then after my first fair was when I got my first design that I got to execute by myself under my studio, TBQ Studio. So that was really, really big for me. And then a couple of months later, I got to do an even bigger project, which was a penthouse, a 5-bedroom penthouse, in VI. So like, it was a huge, like, my thing is like, life is so weird for me. It's just kind of like, I'm chilling and then everything just kind of like skyrockets. And then I had to sort of adapt to that trajectory.
Yeah.
So, it was a huge year for me, a lot to learn from, a lot to sort of pivot from. And I'm just learning and growing as it comes.
Wow. Well, you mentioned, a year of firsts, so many firsts, and, from speaking about it, I think it makes sense. When we were speaking or chatting earlier, you mentioned, you also mentioned it just now, also saying that was your first big break, like you had your first big break. I'm sure a lot of people will be like, what do you mean by that? Like, you done, big projects in the past, like, people have seen your artwork go like viral, remember that Rema moments, like, always the guy, like, so like, can you just add some context to like when you say it was your first? Because like I said, people probably have seen you like doing great things, like way back from like probably like 5-6 years ago, something like that. When was Rema's first album?
It's like 2019.
Exactly, bro. Like that was
6 years
pre-COVID.
ago.
Exactly. So like some people would think or guess that was like a big break for you. So can you just, add some context to that? Give people some more perspective. What you mean by first big break?
So like, I think obviously a lot of people will know me as an artist because that was like the first time I sort of like came into like quote unquote limelight. Was doing the work for Rema. But before that, I was studying as an architect. I was in architecture school. And I've collaborated with a lot of architects. I've collaborated with a lot of like people and done projects for them, but I never really had my own project. I've worked in companies, I've worked in firms, I've done projects for them, design, site work, all of that. But I never really had something that, this was my work that came to fruition. I've had proposals I've done for multiple people, but it never really led to anything. So this year, I was literally speaking to like my former boss because I also collaborate with his company. My former boss is Papa, who is a huge influence in my life and my design sensibilities. I was speaking to him. I was like, I really want to do something that's just going to show how sensible I am to design as an architect and an artist. I'm not trying to do any more covers. I'm not trying to I just want to show what I can do as an architect. And he was like, okay, no worries. When I get a project, if anything comes to the table, I'll let you know. And he literally hit me up, I think in January that, okay, there's a client that's going to hit me up for this wine store. So that's what the project was. It was a wine store. And basically when she called me to the space, I saw it. It was a cute little space. And I was like, okay, this is great for my first very execution project that I can bring to life. I can do it easy peasy. Timeline was really short, 2 months. In fact, she wanted to do it in a month. But yeah, that was my first big break because a lot of the things I've done, it just like ended up in presentation or end up as renders or end up as we'll get back to you. And this one was just someone that was ready to move. And I was just like dedicated to the cause of like, okay, this is my opportunity. I'm not going to let it go past that without going hard. So I give it everything. I'm not going to lie. I didn't leave anything on the table. I give it everything. And I'm so proud of that project. And I'm also very thankful to Papa and my client to me for the opportunity. So yeah, that was my first big break. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm sure that makes sense to a lot of people now. You're giving us more perspective. So evolving from like architecture to art is something. And like I said, once again, you've been able to like do both like in different ways. And I feel like you also have like different spaces of like expressing those talents or those interests, right? So like, how's it been like combining the two? And have you been able to like, now you said, I think you used the word pivot or and you've used the word breakout. So how have you been able to balance both or kind of, still, I'm sure you still have interest in like illustrating, maybe on a personal level, maybe not like on a client level, but how are you currently like able to like balance it in this very moment, or maybe like in the last 1 year? Can you just speak more on that?
Right. Well, I'm just going to be honest, man. It's been very, very difficult for me. Like, it's been, because these are two very like demanding pursuits. To be an artist, you really need to get immersed in your craft. You really need to understand who you are as a person, what you're trying to say, what works for you, what stories you're telling, and how to tell the stories. It's not something you can just do all willy-nilly. It's something very, very serious. To be an architect as well, it demands the same level of dedication. In fact, they're like twins, art and architecture. It's just that art is very more expressive and architecture is more technical. It's a science of art, basically. So it's very hard to balance these two things. I'm not going to lie, but I have strong head. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. It's something I want to do. So I've just found a way to sort of go back and forth.
Yeah.
So for the past like 3 years now, I think I've done so before last year, I think last year was more my design year. I'm not going to lie. Let's leave last year out of it. Last year is more a breakout year. Let's say the year before that, I was locked in as a designer. Maybe the year before that, I was locked in as an artist. Maybe the year before that one, I was locked in as a designer. So this is how I've been sort of switching things out. One is going to be like my main pursuit, and then the other is going to be like a side hustle. This has been the way I've been switching in between these two pursuits since when I was in architecture school, since when I got a job, to how I'm sort of like winging it right now. Is even when I'm still doing like design proposals, when I'm like, and I have a bit of downtime or like I'm bored or something, I'm just going to open my iPad and like work on paintings I have. Because I have paintings from 2 years ago that are not done because there's just no time for them. But it's like when I get the opportunity, I'm going to work on it. And then when there's like a design opportunity or there's like a project I could work on or there's like a proposal to submit, then I switch back. And I honestly, I sort of feel it in my brain chemistry when I'm working on the 2 days, because you can't work on them the same way. There's a point where they kind of like cross roads and go different paths. Like architecture is like, you have to dream for both of them, which is what is beautiful about it. And but when it comes to architecture, there's a point where you stop dreaming and you start being very like practical about what you're doing. But for art, you mustn't do that. If you want to be practical about art, it's in the very beginning. Do your research, understand what you're talking about, and then leave it. Let your intuition flow. Don't think about anything, just do it, you know. But for architecture, just vibe, obviously do a bit of research, but when you get to the ending part, that's when you're very particular about how you make certain spaces look and how you treat certain spaces, how you let light come in, what kind of textures you use where and when. So I love both of them. It's very, and I think even the future that I see for myself is a future where they both sort of collide. In fact, I've started working on a sort of like art style where there's a bit of architectural influence in it.
Really?
So yeah. I don't think I've shown it yet, but it's very like
I think
it's very.
I might have an idea, but I think, well, go on. Let me allow you to talking.
So like it's very like geometric and it's very like textural and it's very like you get more of a sense of space.
Is it like Arya Star's cover?
The funny thing is that's when I started thinking about it when I did the cover. And
I swear, I was like, nobody can pull this off in Nigeria. When I saw that cover, I was like, nobody, no traditional artist can. Because I saw it like was perspective, bro. Like it was like ground to up. I could tell like you lined up that shit. Well,
no,
speak on it.
That was I was trying to do something new. Unfortunately, like you can dream, but I believe in like putting in effort. But if there is no like reward for that effort, there's no point. Right. So I was trying to like pitch sort of a different way to sort of approach how we could make like covers, because I was thinking like 3D, 2D, combining everything together. What I've learned from architecture, how I could bring that with my illustration and sort of create something different. I was ready to go crazy. But I guess the numbers I was asking for wasn't something that was available on the table then. So I just did that one and I was like, okay, I don't think people are ready to invest in this kind of thing. So let me just like leave it for now. And then even doing it for myself, I've kind of like grown out of it. Like I did a couple of studies, still trying to merge like 2D and 3D. But my brain doesn't stay in one place, man. Like I'll have an idea, I'll think about it, I'll like it, and then after a while I just move on to another idea. It just comes like that. So yeah.
You've touched on expectations and also like, trying to, sometimes it's not about how much you put into work or how much you are passionate about a certain style or direction, or how something, maybe like you have a vision for how album art should look like and you're like pitching it to clients, but something somewhere is not like aligned, whether timing, whether budget, whether vision. And I know like in your experience, you definitely like worked with clients, like a lot of clients. You worked with, startups, individual artists, upcoming artists, established artists, like the biggest of the biggest artists. So like, what's been the most challenging part of working with clients, especially at that high level? Or like generally, not even just at the highest level. I think for every client generally.
Yeah, I mean, it's a potpourri. It's a beautiful recipe of challenges. I think for me, number one is unrealistic expectations when it comes to like timeline. The penthouse that I told you about, literally the timeline that was presented for a 5-bedroom on 3 floors was 2 months.
Damn.
It was a thing where everybody was like, yeah. I was like,
2 months.
Okay, let's see how this will happen.
Well, it's possible.
It was, yeah. I mean, it's possible you put the right things in place.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like those kind of like expectations. I have people reach out to me. I remember back then when I was really doing covers a lot, people would reach out to me saying, could you please do a cover for me? I want to drop the song next week. And I'm just like, what's the assumption that I don't have anything to do time? Like, even me, when I'm doing work for myself, I can't do it in 1 week. Like, I'll really drop it and pick it up later. So the timeline for me is the first thing. Even like proposals, like clients want to see their beauty now. Bros, unless you want to see something that is very like superfluous and fundamentally weak, you need to give it time to cook. You understand? So that time factor is very, very important for me. Then another thing is budget. People want like a Gucci product but want to give you like a Temu budget.
Why Temu? Why Temu?
No, because they've been blowing me up with their ads. They've been blowing me up with their ads. So that's what came to my mind. Sorry, Shane. How about Shane? Let's say Shane.
There are some aggressive marketing budget, bro. Well, man. I get you. We get you. Go on.
So that's another challenge. Another challenge which I think is probably the biggest one, is like people not having like a direction, and it's not even a thing of them not having a direction for the project. It's them not having even a brand to build on.
Gotcha.
So it's very difficult because, like, again, like all this like art, architecture, creative direction, logo design, all of these creative pursuits, you build on something. That's why we do research.
Absolutely.
You take something and then you create something from it. But if you have no substance as a client, it's very difficult to make something for you. Which I was speaking to a friend of mine actually about, like, why he's always trying to convince me to leave Nigeria. And he was telling me, yo, even the quality of clients you have in Nigeria itself, like what you have to design for. You have all these entrepreneurs, all these rich people that have no substance. You can't even create anything for them because you don't know them. You don't know how they got rich. You don't know who you're designing for. I was like, fair enough. Like, so like, I think for now, that's what I can come up with as far as the challenges.
Can we just backtrack a bit to like the early years of QVX and like how you've evolved? So I remember, like, if we just take it a bit back, to like uni, that's QVX that we knew in Aki, like, who was that QVX? Who was that guy? Because that guy, I don't know that guy. So like, can you just take us through your journey? I want you to even go back as far back as, like, your early days, your very, starting point. When was your first memory of thinking about art?
That's a very tough question, because the truth is, it kind of feels like the Big Bang. Everyone says like there was a Big Bang, but it's like, okay, what was there before the Big Bang? And it's kind of like there was just a Big Bang. So like, all I know is that I remember always drawing. I had a lesson teacher when I was like in primary 1 or nursery something, and remember, like, I don't have a great memory, but I have things that matter to me. It's like little snapshots, and I remember the moment of him giving me an assignment in my home. It was like a home lesson teacher, and he gave me all these assignments. I was like, okay, please give me an assignment or something to draw. And he indulged me. He told me, okay, draw this, draw one broom, draw one apple, draw one this and that.
Wait, hold on. He was your general lesson teacher.
Yeah.
Like, he used to teach you all the subjects.
Yeah, just like brush up, make sure that, I think it was from my school.
I think
so
all of us have, I mean, everyone has some kind of teacher or lesson teacher, annoying as hell. Yeah. But they always come at the wrong time.
I was very young. I don't even know why I needed that. Like, I was very, very young.
How young?
I know that by the time we left that neighborhood, we left when I was going to primary 2. So anything below primary 1 is
I was young.
I was so young, bro.
I didn't have one that early, bro.
What did I need a lesson teacher for, bro? Like, I don't even know.
I didn't have one that
But
early.
maybe
So,
maybe
yeah.
I know Sabi work. Maybe it's possible that I was an Olodo and I don't remember that I was an Olodo.
Maybe
I
your
know
parents
that-
saw signs were like,
Yeah, this nigga is kind of slow.
nah,
But
nah.
I know that I remember being unremarkable though. I remember being in the back of the class. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was very by myself. I had one friend. Her name was Linda. I still remember her name.
Babe,
This was hey. I mean, I think she was kind of filling the void. That's why she was like my friend. You know, she would
I
give
was
me.
expecting you to have at least a guy. At least.
Really, no, I don't
Yeah?
even remember anyone. I don't know. I remember just one person that was my friend.
Wow.
I remember her giving me food from her food flask. I have just weird snapshot memories. But I digress.
Yeah.
So I remember like asking my teacher for assignments, like, give me, okay, see your own, let me do for me. Please give me an assignment to do. And he indulged me. I
Wow.
think these are the little things that sort of like built
That-
me up. Because
that was
imagine if
good.
he told me, Mr. Man, will you focus? Because a lot of people come up to me and say,
That's
I
very
remember when I
typical.
draw.
That's
and
quite
my
typical.
uncle or my mother or my teacher told me to stop drawing. So I think that to have people like encourage me. I even remember when we moved to another house, which was like this was like my primary school to my secondary school development. And there was also another person I think used to come around the house to do some work or was in the neighborhood, and it was like an artist used to draw like ducks and like this little animals on like this wooden palette. And he literally just gave me one, and I was drawing already without him giving me that. Just that encouragement of, oh, okay, this. He gave it to me, and I tried to replicate what he did. So I've just been very interested in art, like seeing like characters on TV, Spider-Man, Ben 10, no, not Ben 10, Justice League, one of these things. In fact, I remember there was literally one paper, Superman drawing, very remarkable. The rain just brought this to my window. Swear down. I was like, what is this? I don't went outside to go and pick it up. I was like, this drawing is so remarkable. I just took it. I was looking at it. Like, I was like, how
Like
can
someone drew it and
someone drew it with pen? No, they didn't bring it.
Wow.
I don't know how it landed there.
Damn.
I think rain was falling because the thing it started tearing because rain had wet it.
Wow.
So this thing just landed there. I was look and say, how can I even get to this level? Because I remember I was drawing actor and bows then. You know, the bows with the bracket arms.
Yes, with the props.
The actual sharp.
Yeah.
So like seeing all of these things, even like my colleagues in school, the other students, they be drawing as well. And I think they have a very competitive spirit. So like, you know, if I see someone doing like a very good drawing, I'm like, I should be able to do that. I gotta be able to do that. And then I try to do it. So yeah, I think if you had left it to me, I'll have just been drawing like dogs and actor and bulls. I'm happy with it. Matters. But then I saw like there was a possibility of being better. So I tried to be better. This even goes into like university as well. Keep in mind, I still draw all the way. Like if you ask about me in school, there's some people that are stealing my sketch pad and God will judge them. Because why are you still the best sketch pad?
Like, why?
Bro, there's even someone that came up to me. This one is not even secondary. This is a uni, bro. She came up to me years after we left uni telling me, oh, yeah, my brother is your sketch pad, or my brother likes your sketch pad, or something like that. And I don't, she realized that she was confessing to me that she stole my sketch pad.
Oh my days.
I was like, you're the one that took my sketch pad. What do you mean? Return my sketch pad. She's like, but my brother loves it. I'm like, what? It's my intellectual property, bro. But anyway.
That's mad. Crazy. Okay.
It's crazy.
Okay.
I digress again. So like even getting to uni, got to meet people like Osaze, got to meet people like Omisham. I was like, yo, Osaze showed me that you could actually do digital art. I didn't even know that there was a thing like that because all my life I've been thinking they would draw it, they would scan it, and then somebody would magically paint it. You know, I didn't hack it. And then I saw it on the tablet. I'm like, what? I'm getting that. And that was actually how I pivoted from traditional art to digital art. Then
before then, you always did traditional art.
Yeah, I just got sketch with pencil, ink. I used to do a lot of comics that I finished only one comic, and it was a football comic. I did that in like GSS 1 or 3, something that. And my friends, they liked it too much, so I took it back home. So they don't see it. But ended up torn. I tried to do other comics, but I don't know. I probably have ADHD, so I don't finish a lot of stuff. So I just left them.
Fair enough. So at what point did you pivot into digital art? Because you said, like, do you remember the very points? Because you mentioned in uni and at what point?
Well, uni, I don't know how I ended up in year 2 because I was in year 1 then, diploma actually. And for some reason, I ended up in year 2 studio, which is out of character. I don't live where I'm comfortable. And then I saw Osaze drawing. I was like, my eyes just opened. Like, what am I seeing right now? And then I asked him, like, where did you get this, and that?
Yeah.
Give me all the information. I went to go and order my own, you know. Immediately, like, bro, I need to get put onto this. But I don't think I started using it until year 2, or at least I don't have any memory of using it until year 2. So it's possible that it was year 2 to year 3 that I saw him. I don't know. But so that's when I started this, because like my thing was like, the thing about traditional art for me that I didn't really like is that you have all these papers, you have all these materials that you have to keep carrying up and down. Like, where will I keep my poster color and my paint and like my brushes and my pencil and my ink and my sketch pad and my and somebody will steal your sketch pad, you know?
Like,
So I was like, you know what, this is easier for me since I already work now on my laptop. So I'm now like in architecture school. Let me just pivot to this. So I started doing a lot of drawings on just like Photoshop. So it was easy to have everything in one place on one hard drive. So that's when I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to pivot to for now.
so like after getting the, I mean, was it the Wacom tablet or something you got first?
Yeah, it was like the Intuos,
yeah,
something.
Okay.
Wacom Intuos. It was a Wacom Intuos. Yeah,
it was one of those, one of those similar ones. Yeah,
I used to have it around actually, but it's not here.
It's just not just. And then you moved to the bigger boys, the iPad.
The funny thing, when I wanted to move, I was torn. I didn't know what to choose because there's a lot of people using different things. People using Surface Pro, people using iPads, people using Wacom. So I was like, okay, let me just buy 2 and see which one will work. So I got an iPad. And I got I got an iPad and I got like because I started making money with arts then, so that's why I invest with it. So I got an iPad and I got a Huon. I think that's what they call it, Huon.
Yeah, I know Huon. I had a Huon.
Yeah. So it's pretty big compared to the iPad. So yeah,
I feel like there was a wave at a point when we were in school, when we were in uni. Almost not everyone, but like you guys that draw, like everyone in that space kind of just like covered, digital arts, and we were just like bombarded. Like, I know Tolu used to draw then there was Osaze, and then there was you. I can't remember any other person, but at least I know 3 of you. I'm just trying to remember some more if I'm missing anyone else. But there was that wave, like everyone was like, bruh, digital art, like, and then they were hearing that people were getting paid, like, bruh, renderings don't matter anymore, like, because bruh, anything you could do back then in uni to make money, you just so like I like to hear from you, like, what was it for you? Like, I mean you mentioned getting paid to draw back then. This is when everyone was hustling in school, right? Like everyone was like trying to get their juries done or get their projects done. And for the few people that had like jobs like outside school, you could tell that they were either absent from class,
different.
Doesn't care. They don't
There's
care.
Something that matters more.
They're like, see you guys wherever when you're ready out there, So I think everyone knew those people, and fair play to them. They had to do what they had to do. Yeah. So you were in studio drawing your stuff, right in the thick of it, making money. What was that like? How did you feel?
I wasn't actually making money in the studio.
Oh,
I wasn't making money.
I was making money.
No, I was getting paid when I got the iPad and the Huon, but I wasn't.
Oh, was that way after school?
That was
you were already out of school.
So I literally used my Wacom Intuos throughout school.
Okay.
So it was when I left school that I got opportunities that gave me the chance to be paid for my work. And that's when because I had that cash inflow, I was like, okay, let me invest a little bit in this. Yeah. But when I was in school, again, when I have downtime, when I'm bored, when I don't feel like hearing all that nonsense about 900 doors, I just plug in my Intuos and I start drawing whatever I wanted. I didn't even have it direct. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to draw something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so at what point, when did you get your first paid gig?
Yeah, I mean, let me not discredit people that gave me commissions, because I got commissions when I was still doing traditional art. People asked me to draw them, but it was kind of like shaking in money because they're my friends. But then among all of that, I used to do covers for friends of mine that were musicians, but this one did not even pay me. But I didn't care. I was just drawing, if I had the chance, I'll draw it. If I don't have time, I won't do it.
Yeah.
So there's a friend of mine that I did a cover for, and his brother was sort of in that space then. He was working for me even as an A&R. So it kind of put it in his ear that I could do covers because I did one for him. And then sort of called me to sort of try and see if I could do a cover for this up and coming musician called Rema. And I was like,
up and coming.
I mean, then it was up and coming.
Then,
you know? Yeah. Then it was, I remember that going to his page and seeing all these freestyles in the car. I'm like, oh, cool, energy. I can work with this. But then I was even like, yo, I don't do covers, so I don't know what you're talking about. But then my friend was telling me, what are you talking about? Just try it. But like, didn't you do this one? I'm like, it's like doing art before a cover. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
So again, it was a bit difficult for me because I didn't really know who Rema was. I really didn't even know anything about cover art. I was just winging a lot of things. So it was a lot for me. I didn't know him. I didn't know his sound. I didn't know his personality. All I saw was a young person with dreads that is going to make music. So I was just doing a lot of like very abstract concepts. I did a lot of sketches that they were not really feeling. And it was just a thing where they're like, okay, nice. Can we have another one? Can we have another one?
Another one.
Yeah. Which actually was very, very instrumental for my development.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I just want to go and chill. And I think this is when you get your best ideas when you're not trying. Because I think I have this habit of laying upside down, almost very uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't like, even when I'm in my bed,
you sit
I
in
put
the
my
most
legs,
in the weirdest positions. I do know that.
nah.
I do know that.
That's how because actually thinking back now, I think I went to go and lie down. I just sat down somewhere. I just put my legs up anyhow. I was chilling. And I think that image of me, how I looked then and just chilling, maybe I was listening to music, maybe I wasn't. It was just something that, it was like a flash of an image in my head, which is honestly how I get a lot of my ideas. It just flashes in my head. I just have to think and be like, okay, what was that? So that flash came in my head and I just went to go and draw it and I just sent it to them and I just got the feedback like, yeah, perfect. And that's how we started. Basically.
You mean that was that album? That was that cover?
Yeah, that was the cover for the first.
It was just a flash in your head.
It was a flash. Flashes.
Damn. Let's speak more about that cover design. Because I was gonna ask you that. Where was your headspace when you created that cover design? Because it feels like it was like a fresh direction, a fresh style. It was something that, like, personally, I'd never seen anything in this space, especially like in Nigeria, maybe like outside probably, with like very expressive artists, maybe like Tyler or someone like that. But like here in like Africa, you know what we usually do. So like, I'm curious to hear more about like where your headspace was. Like, what were you thinking? What did you find about the artist that made you like feel like you could express so much, like artistic? And the colors as well, because the colors were quite bright and quite high contrast colors, contrary to what most people do. I'm curious to know more about like how you arrived at that direction.
So a couple of things. I love that you asked me that question because when I was talking about laying down, I definitely forgot some details. And I think I didn't have a lot to work with. I didn't really know this kid and I didn't really know a lot about cover art. But his name was Rema. And I took that name, Rema, and I deleted the A, and I took Rem. So I worked with the idea of REM sleep, which is basically like the deepest part of sleep. Yeah. And I just kind of like decided to do something that felt like sort of like a dream. Yeah. So I decided to do something sort of like dream-like, just based on that REM sleep idea. And that's why you have all of these people like sort of reaching someone like something that looks like he's in the clouds and all of that. And I guess the colors also like inspired it. I did a little bit of research, just look at some very like whimsical, dreamlike type artworks and just like try to frame what I was trying to do around all of that. So I think that's when I learned, during that phase is when I learned a lot about like referencing works that have been done by other artists. Usually I'm just like in my own, like, I don't like to feel like somebody's influencing me. I don't like to feel like I'm copying someone. I think that's the word. I don't want to feel like I've copied someone. Yeah. I want it to, for some reason, be like true to myself, but that's idiocy because if you've read the book Still Like an Artist, you would understand that you can't exist in a vacuum. You definitely get inspired by other people. But that's when I started like taking things, even like the Connect at Maven, the A&R, his name is Vader, by the way, very, very instrumental person. Even there's times where we did covers after that first cover where he would just be like, okay, these are the images that we're looking like. This is the type of image we're looking for. This is the type of style we're looking for. And then I'll be like, oh, truthfully, I don't have this in my head right now, but it doesn't mean I don't have it for it. Now that I know that this is something that's possible, I can aspire to do it. So it was kind of like a springboard to understand that this is possible. Yeah. And then I'm allowed to dream this way. So Yeah, I think
Wow.
that was what happened with the first cover.
Wow, amazing. Some few things just jumped out to me. You mentioned like, I think initially you mentioned that you tend to create when you're free or something. Like you're not thinking too much about,
So, yeah,
the
it's a
design.
subconscious thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
subconsciously, like it's just like you just allow yourself to do the art, let the art speak through you or whatever, however. And then, and when we're chatting earlier, you also mentioned like your best projects have been those kind of projects when you allow yourself to also just create without, thinking too much about it. I'd like you to speak more on that and how you've been able, like, okay, maybe like use some examples of projects that have gone through, from this similar style, where you just expressed yourself and it was just like, oh, perfect. And then maybe you can also speak about some other ones, like when you like spend time, like there was a lot of iteration and maybe it didn't land or maybe it landed. Maybe I think that would be a good perspective to also like, tell and, explain or, shed more light on. Yeah.
Man, you're giving my memory exercise to do because like
yeah.
usually me, I just like everything just goes. I think for me, what comes to mind, which is what I'm just gonna say, when it comes to letting my subconscious do the work, this was around the time that I got into an accident. I don't even remember the year. See, I had trauma and I don't remember when it happened. Probably 2021,
Really?
around that time. Yeah. So I was coming back from my friend's wedding in, I think, Elisha or some thereabout, maybe Oshun or yo. And I was like, let's go and eat KFC, And then we all ate KFC, including the driver. And I think that KFC was hitting a bit too hard, so he slept off. Bro. And my thing is like, I was in the front seat and I also kept sleeping off. I was like, why do I keep sleeping off? Why do I keep sleeping off? One of those times that I just woke up and I was like, we're literally about to collide with a truck. And then literally woke this guy. I was like, whoa. This nigga just like, and then we go off the road. So miraculous within that. Because literally, like, if I didn't wake up or more, no new art from me again, no new design, no DBQ studios. But so during that phase, something happened to me where I obviously had PTSD. And my brain chemistry was different because I was very like worried about like my mortality. And I guess the kind of work that I created then, it was purely emotion based. Like I say this all the time when I talk about that period in my life as an artist. I can't do that work again. I can't create it because the way my brain was then has changed. So like sometimes I look at it and I'm like, how did I even do this? Let me try to mimic. But it was a thing where I was just doing like this. I was just as the images are entering my head, as I'm seeing these flashes, I'm just doing it like, and it wasn't a thing of me even saying, I want it to be fine. I was just like, this is how I feel. 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 So that was one period where like, I think that was the height of my subconscious artistry where I wasn't thinking about anything. I just knew that there was something in there that needed to come out. And I think by the time where I started to feel better, I couldn't do it anymore. So in a way, it was very cathartic for me trying to get all of that out. And that was like that's the prime. I don't know. You probably seen it because I know you commented on it.
Yeah, definitely.
But there was this one where I said like, this is my masterpiece. This is one that should be in a gallery or something like this in a couple of years from now.
Yeah.
This was the time when my subconscious was fighting with my conscious mind, and I just there's like literally a voice in my head. I was seeing a lot of things, and I had to keep saying, "Shut up, shut up." And it was like that was how it felt. And that's just the time where I think like that was like strongest subconscious mind, that I've delivered when it comes to art.
Yeah, definitely have memories of those expressions that you had, and I think most people also like see you go through a timeline of like different, should I say, emotions, like phases. Sometimes you could see like a series of projects.
Yeah,
I think you did like this self project where you were like really expressing yourself. Speaking about it now makes a lot of sense because right, we're like, well, what's Qvxdri to here? I'll be good, bro.
Sometimes I'm not good. Though. I can't like the thing. Is like obviously art started as like a. I don't know how it started, honestly. It's just a thing that happened. Maybe it's something that happened because a lot of the things that happened in the past, I don't think I've given myself a chance to unpack, so I don't know. But I know that I used to do art a lot, and then it got to a point where I was so in my shell that the only way to express myself was through art. Like I would rather burn the school down than speak to somebody for 2 hours. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to engage. I don't even know how to engage. It feels very uncomfortable. So I was just very in my shell. The only close friend that I have from secondary school is someone that forced themselves into my heart. In fact, anyone that's my friend right now is someone that has given me the capacity to be friends with them. It's someone that showed me that it's all right. Like, this is okay. This is a thing that you're safe. You can be my friend. Like, I want to be your friend,
Yeah.
And it's someone that's been consistent, Because my thing is, like, I'll be like, I don't know you. I don't, but there's the people that have constantly just like giving me that leeway, to come out of my shell, that I'm with.
Yeah.
Reason why I used to do RLO was just very like cathartic. It was just like, oh my God, I need some kind of outlet. I need to let it out. And then I think when I started doing covers, a lot of that attention, a lot of these comments got to my head, and I started just doing things for people. And I think the point where I started doing all these paintings, the self paintings, was where I was like sort of reclaiming the reason why I did art, just getting back to the essence of like telling my truth.
So many things to unpack in that very short one you just went through now. I think I went being my feelings just hearing you speak about these very sensitive topics, which are things that we should definitely speak about. Generally, there's been like some conversations I've been having with people, and I've been just trying to a bit like analyze or break down the life of an artist or creative. I don't even say just an artist, like, speaking with people like Nee, speaking with people like Shei, these guys have been there, done that, gone through this journey, and, they're still in the thick of it. And one thing that I think one thing that has been dominant in our conversations is like evolving as an artist, as a creative. And you remember when we were speaking, I was like, wait, like this QVX that I'm seeing now is not the QVX that I knew, like that we knew back in uni. And the same thing I can say for Nee, like same thing I can say for Shei, like same thing I can say for all these guys that I knew, and that people saw like what they were doing. And like it feels like the life of an artist kind of evolves, right? And you kind of figure it out on the way. I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but like you kind of figure it out. Yeah, you kind of figure it out along the way. You learn things like maybe initially you start like soloing and just trying to do everything by yourself, and then you realize, man, I can't do everything by myself. Or you spend every time working and drawing, and then you realize, man, I'm gonna break down.
It's not sustainable.
Right. So what's been like that very thing for you, like in your journey, like evolving as an artist, like that's been like your biggest learning curve or like your learning point? What's been that thing that you can say like, oh wow, I've really learned, or I've really grown or outgrown in my journey?
It's a lot, man. For me, I evolve quicker than I can even adapt to. It's a thing where, because I consume a lot of content when it comes to like art, and a lot of things influence me. I'm very open to being inspired by the universe and whatever the universe brings my way. So I'm constantly just evolving. So I can say in the past, even like 6 months, my ideologies have changed like 3 times. There's been times where I was so into detail, and there's times where I was like, that's not what I'm doing here. That's not the point. There's times in the beginning, the way I used to paint was such a very tedious process, because I guess I didn't really understand what I was doing, but I was trying to figure it out. It'd take me like hours to do like the easiest painting, but last week it took me like 15 minutes.
Oh,
It's so easy now because it's like I understand what it is, and like it's so funny because before it used to be so deep for me. I used to be like, okay, I have to get it right. But now I don't even care, and I get it right. It seems like the more you let your subconscious mind take over, the more everything will just kind of like pan out. Like the thing you need to know is already there. It's just that you are thinking too much. So it's clogging up. Yeah, it's clogging up that. So I think listening to podcasts, watching like YouTube tutorials, seeing other people's work, seeing them talk about their process helps you to understand like the more natural way to approach this thing. So I think I'm learning to trust myself more as an artist. I'm learning to consume a lot of work from other artists. Before I used to be very in my shell. I don't like seeing anybody better than me. First of all, yeah, it's inspiring to see it, but it can be very demoralizing sometimes. And then I think it also distracts me in a way, because if I see something that someone is doing, I'm like, I like that. How do they do that? I want to know how to do that. But these days, I don't even do that anymore. I just I know what my direction is now as an artist.
Yeah.
So like whatever you're doing, even if it's the most amazing thing in the world, it can't faze me because I know what I'm trying to do. So if you've done something amazing, kudos to you, beautiful work. It doesn't. But if there's something for me to learn from there, best believe I'm gonna pick it up. So, but before, back in the day, there was a lot of things, man. I was inspired by a lot of different artists. I was just like, this is nice. This is nice. This is nice. You know, but with that maturity, you start to find your own voice and see what you want to say and how you want to speak. I literally took like a year to figure out what I wanted to say as an artist. I've not gotten there because it's not so, a year to be an artist is impossible. Like Picasso evolved how many times? So people keep evolving. I think that's one thing I'm very excited for. It's just evolution, honestly. It's just like, because when I look back and I'm like, I've done this, I became this, after that I did this, is like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens in 10 years. I can't wait to meet the person.
Filling your studio, realizing you're having an extra year to spend in school. What was going through your mind that very moment you realized?
Well, I'm not sure now if I regret my decision, but at the end of the day, I was just kind of like, number one, my experience in architecture school. You guys have actually not taught me anything. Yeah, everything that I know right now, well, apart from a couple of, like, I think architectural history and another course, I can't remember. But the rest of them, the things that you could have just learned anywhere. And it wasn't that important even to like your development as an architect, to be honest. The things that made me develop as an architect is the people I met along the way. It's the people I met along the way and the lessons they taught me on the field. So I was just like, yo, this master's thing was, because it was my master's that they showed me, right? Literally the last studio ever. And I was just like, yo, this master's certificate was a formality. Keep in mind, I didn't even collect the paper after. I was so mad when I left. I was like, man, keep your paper. I don't care. Because I don't need it, you know? But the thing is that, so I was heated, man. I was like, yo, why would you fail me without any just cause? Because there was no just cause. It was just a very, very flimsy, these are the people that were going to fail, you know? And I'm like, you can't just do that. Like everyone defaulted in something and then you just picked some people to pardon and then you just said, you guys are going to fail. Like you fail everyone or fail no one. You understand? So
Exactly.
I was mad. First thing I did, because I used to have a lot of temper. I've learned to calm down these days. Like, in fact, I think I'm way calmer. I don't remember the last time I was angry. What I used to do then when I got angry is I'll call my mother because she's very level-headed. She's like a huge contrast for me. So I called, I was like, yo, they just told me that I'm failing my studio and I'm not accepting that. I'm leaving. I don't have to finish this. I have a job. Literally, I had a job waiting for me from my mentor. His name is Obina, very remarkable architect. So he was in Dubai. He left and went to Dubai. And then he put me on. It was like, yo, I have a job waiting for you. I was like, okay, please wait for me to the end of the year when I graduate masters and then I'll come. Beautiful salary. Like, yeah, making money off the rip.
Cool.
And I was like, yo, I have a job waiting for me in Dubai. I don't need this. She was like, no, because you finish everything you do, blah, blah, blah. And I think I learned from like a young age to always listen to my mother because for some reason she's always right. So I decided to just finish it. Dude, it was like, the thing is like, the experience was not worth it. Like, you're not giving me anything special. You know, it's nothing that I learned from architecture school that I don't even think I did any learning in architecture school. I did more of like meeting people, networking, all of that.
People can argue that school doesn't really teach you much, to be fair.
It doesn't, especially with the way that the structure is set up. In fact, that's a dream of mine, is to actually have a little school where I can actually teach people. I mean, I don't pretend to know everything. I think there's a little bit of something I can contribute. There's people that I know, they can also contribute. So I think like set up like a structure where we actually educate people. That's more, I think that will help more. It's just the certifications and all of these jargons but no, I didn't really like that experience, to be honest. But I think it was a necessary evil, to bring me to where I am right now, because I don't think I would have done anything for Rema. You know how much bag I'll be making if I was in Dubai. You know, I don't think I would have gone to work for Papa then, which actually helped me to develop some sensibilities to design. And I'm evolving now into a more Nigerian-based designer. I worked on a project last year, I'm still working on it, for like a developer in Nigeria, where I had to challenge what I knew about design and make more Nigerian-centric designs. I don't know if I would have gotten that opportunity. I don't know what the other timeline has in store for me. All I know is that I'm happy with, you know, how my story is going so far, and I can't wait to see, you know, what else comes. As far as architecture school, let that nigga not at me, bro. I still haven't that thing. I don't let go of things like that, bro.
Yeah.
So, Don't chat
I
to me in the
think a
street,
lot of
bro.
people share that sentiment with you, but yeah, you're not alone. Trust me, including myself. You're not alone, bro. We both
The
know
guy is not real, Jack.
we're together in this. Leaving architecture school eventually, you already said you got to work with Papa. You mentioned a few things, meeting people like Obina, some very key people in your journey, and how pivotal those have been for to you in, like, becoming who you currently are now. I think it would be good to hear some of the things that you've taken from some of these people, some of the influences or impacts they've had in your journey, and where also, like, how did you meet them, where did you meet them, and what was their impact in your journey?
Yeah. Yeah, so like first off, I do think I've been very blessed to meet these people because it's not like I did anything special. It's just coincidence that or like fate that brought me to them. I think for Papa was probably the first person I met. I think he came to school. I was probably in year 1, year 2, or year 3.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he took a liking to me. It doesn't know me from Adam. I don't even think I said anything remarkable. I don't remember. That's just the truth. All I knew is that there was some sort of relationship there. The plan was like, obviously, to go work for him after school. But when it was time to do IT, I was trying to apply to different places to work. James Kibbe didn't take me. They're lost. But I worked at Studio Stone, where I learned a lot, honestly, because before then, I was just very concerned about aesthetics. I didn't care about anything else. I just care about, what looks good. I think working there made me more like practical about like ideas and space and like planning and like just the practical technical side of architecture. And then going back to school, I started to apply that. And then when I got to masters, I first went back to work with Papa, but it wasn't a good fit then. So I only lasted like a month. And then after that, I got another gig. Working
a solid 1 month.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, it was a good experience. It's just the logistics wasn't working. It wasn't working for me, and it wasn't working for the company. So, but later on, I got to work for them for
which is fantastic because not everybody has a tolerance for people coming in and going out, or not everybody has the patience, right?
Yeah.
But
the space that Papa has curated with MOE Art and Architecture is such a very inclusive space where you're allowed to grow. You're allowed to come with your little intricacies, and it allows you to flourish. They have a thing they call plus, where they say, what is your plus? Basically, when you're sort of being onboarded in the Monday meeting, they ask you, hey, what's your plus? And they got to find out that, I'm an artist, and then they sort of let that part flourish for me. So Papa is just like my goat. Beyond even that, it's just a very remarkable person. Taught me to be like nicer, taught me to be calmer, to be more sensitive.
Shout out to Papa, man. You can't say that again.
Design. Yeah. Again, like I said, he was the one that gave me my gig last year. He's just such an amazing person. And the thing is, like, if you line up all of the people that say amazing things about Papa, is as long as the line of people wanting to get into the gates of heaven, is just that kind of a person. So I even have flashbacks to times when I'll be finishing Rema's covers or another person's cover in the office, and all he's just going to say, what are you working on? Obviously, I've done my job, right? It's just maybe I have a little bit of downtime or some free time, so I'm just like sketching to the side. And it's like, oh, what's that? Is that a cover? Like, yeah, just show him. Like, nice, pretty cool. And just goes,
cool, boss.
That's it's very, very cool. But do your work, cool. Not like I see you come here.
Obviously, that goes without saying.
He had some kind of faith in me that I guess I couldn't even see myself yet. So I think that was very that was very pivotal for me. And I also, before I even worked with Papa, I worked at TMCDC, actually was where I worked. Orange Line, they were developers, and that's where I met Obina. And Obina is just a remarkable designer, man, from Usuka. And I've heard about Usuka that they're so good. So yeah, shala. Yeah, because there were like 2-3 of them from Usuka, and they were also mad. I was like, okay. So that experience taught me to be more refined as a designer. Because again, my thing is like, I believe in my source. And the funny thing is that it can be delusional sometimes because you think something is great, but only because you think it's great. It's not like it's objectively great. But like having that experience is like sort of something that burst my bubble in a way that I was like, okay, so Obina gave me like a gig, right? TP for one developer that they usually worked with back then, Urban Primer. And basically the experience was like, he gave me the job to do. And by the time he had submitted what I'd done, the client was like, hell no, ain't no way. Don't give me work to somebody else again. Because I know that you can never do this. That's how bad it was.
Damn. Yeah, how did you feel hearing that?
Well, like I said, my bubble was bust. It was very humbling. And it was a thing where I didn't feel terrible. I just felt like, I'm not him, you know. So I just had to
So wait,
go back.
before then, you thought you were him.
I've always felt like I'm
You
him
always
because
felt like
there's not been a situation where I feel like I can't do it or I don't have the show or propensity to explode. I always feel like I have this innate thing where if I want to, I will.
you will.
It's just me deciding to do it or
We
having
know.
like sort of like the sort of having that like pathway of okay, this is how to do it. Though. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Say less. I'm going to do it. So when that happened, I was kind of like, okay, teach me sensei. What am I missing? You know, and then Obina basically put me on, gave me fundamentals, principles, told me how to like approach design from simple to detail.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you would think this is something they would teach you in architecture school. Maybe they teach them in Osaka, but this is something I learned from someone. And so like I still see a lot of my contemporaries and even like up and coming designers, they still suffer from this ignorance of not knowing how to design from whole to small. Because a lot of things, when you look at the design, when you look at the building, like this building tells no story. It has no song, it has no identity, it has no language. But these are things that you wouldn't know until you're taught, which is why the absolute mission is to educate people at the end of the day. So
Love
yeah,
it.
Obina, big
Love
shout
it.
out to him. Very
Shout out
instrumental
to
guy.
Bina. That was packed. Like I held myself back
Oh,
from like
Shele.
interrupting you at different points because bro, you dropped some gems. Like bro, I think like you're so correct regarding like architecture school and what comes with it, especially our alma mater. I don't know how it is in other schools. I can't really say much. But this thing, like you know, it always prides itself, bigger, whatever.
Yeah, nation's pride, you know.
You know, but in reality, I don't know if that's changed, but what we experienced wasn't really architecture, you know. For me, same thing. But yeah, like I'm speaking about working with Obina, like there's something that stuck out to me, and that's like the fact that you are able to see yourself as someone who can do anything, right? You see yourself as someone who can, you see something, you're like, yeah, can do this. Like, you're not like, man, this thing is like, I can't do it, or this is like for, and then in the same vein, you're able to also recognize when you need to learn and like need to come down from that high horse. So to like, I don't actually know this. Like, I actually would benefit from like learning from someone who knows this stuff, right? And it comes from also identifying that person, right? Which is not also easy, right?
Yeah.
I think I can relate to that so much because the space is saturated with people that might not be as educated as well in those things. People who are also trying to learn, even maybe they're at higher places, but not necessarily like because of like those skills. If you know, maybe because of some other skills. So I'm curious to like know how are you able to balance that, you know, being able to humble yourself and really like, you know, come off that high horse to learn, recognizing people that can add value to you and just, you know, coming down to like, I actually would like to learn from you, you know. How have you been able to balance that? And then coming back into your bubble again to like do your art stuff and be like, yeah, I'm that guy, you know, I can't do anything. Like I'm the GOAT, you know, whatever it is and however you
didn't say I'm the GOAT. I didn't say I'm
but
the
no,
GOAT.
like, no, you know, these are like affirmations, you know, you believe in yourself and all that.
Yeah. So I think it just boils down to experience. Like, I guess this is something that's happened from the beginning. It goes back to the story I told you about the Superman drawing that just flew to my window. This is something I saw that someone did. I saw that it was possible. So I stopped drawing actor and bulls. I'm like, how can I get to this level? Because I see that it's possible, right? It's the same as the guy giving me the dog painting and me trying to paint it as well. It's possible. It's done by somebody else, so I know I can do it as well. And this goes again to when I was doing the covers in the beginning for Rema, and they were showing me like, you know, mood board and things to reference that this is where we're going to. And I'm looking at this as this is something that's been done by people. So surely I can do something similar as well. So this track record of being able to like push myself to be better and succeeding over and over again and seeing the results after I succeed is something that I guess it gives you that confidence that, okay, whatever it is, I know that I can learn it and I know I can become a beast after I learn it. So you've seen it happen and you've seen the results. So you just know that this formula works. And when it comes to going back into my bubble, like it's a delicate balance because I have a bit of an ego thing, especially when you've been in the space multiple times where for some reason you're the best there. which is not a great space to be in. Obviously, the best person that could draw in school. It was even a thing where I could draw so well, and I was in like top 3, top 5 students in class. It was like, what am I, some kind of superhuman? So it was like that ego thing starts to get in there, where it's like, okay, I don't need no one else. I got it. But it has to be a delicate balance where you realize that, first of all, you ain't shit. You ain't shit. The reason why you are who you are is a very tasteful balance of the experiences that brought you here. So you're not special, but you also need to realize that you are special, because it's something to be able to create beautiful things out of nothing. It's a huge privilege, but it's also not for you to think you're God or anything. Like, there's millions and millions of artists, designers. I see incredible designers every day. I see their work, and I think one thing that gives me validation is when I see arts and architecture and design work from other people that I love their work, and it clashes with things that come to my mind as well. It makes me feel like, I'm aligned to the universe. I'm thinking about the right things. I'm thinking about the right ideas. But you also need to humble yourself and be like, okay, calm down. You're not all of that. You're not all that, but you're still pretty good though. And that's still pretty good though, is that belief you need in yourself to do something amazing. So delicate balance.
Oh, I'm curious though. Do you have any influences, like characters, people, that you kind of see like a similar trajectory or pattern, or maybe they also lead this kind of life, through like being able to balance those two sides of creative life?
No, I don't. And which is weird. I should actually probably do some research into that, but I don't think I need to, because I more live based on, feels like vibes, where it's more like trusting my intuition. And the reason why I do what I do is because I want to do it. It's not because I'm trying to impress anyone. It's not because I'm trying to be like the greatest artist / designer in the world. It's because I've always been an artist. I ended up being a designer, and I want to be great at both things. So, and it's something where I've been able to do it for so long, and against all odds, because my dad had a problem with me not sticking to my career, because in the beginning, my dad had pushbacks, because it was like, if you're having a career in architecture, which is something serious, you need to focus and stop trying to do art on the side. But I was just like, my thing is, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it regardless. He doesn't know the times where architecture wasn't doing it for me and art was the one paying the bills, keeping the lights on. You don't know when art wasn't doing nothing and was architecture paying the bills, keeping the lights on. So I love both of them, and I'm going to keep doing both of them for as long as I can. And unfortunately, I don't see anyone doing that, but I know there's definitely a lot of multi-talented and multi-faceted creatives out there. So it's not like I'm that unique in what I'm doing. I just think maybe the pursuit that I have is what's unique.
Let's just walk through your creative timeline now in terms of projects. So, we mentioned working with Rema. That was definitely a moment that, shifted the needle. I think in the album art illustration space. So after then, you did work with some other big names that, everyone kind of saw. I think you've taken some of them down.
I'm always archiving.
I can't catch a few of the projects that you've done, like
I archive a lot.
I can't see this project. Where is this project? Even like, our Stars album. Okay, there's still that one that you did. The one that the cover you did. But yeah, we definitely know you worked with, you know who. But yeah, just tell us. So you were in the office, or you were on site, you saw that phone call come through from Wiz.
From crazy experience, I can't lie. Very crazy experience. I feel like that experience is not complete, but maybe it's gonna be complete in future. Because it didn't pan out the way I thought it was gonna be, or the way I hoped it would be. But just that experience was very like validating. So basically, off of just like working for Rema. Rema has a producer. His name is London, and London, I think he was doing some work with it at the time, and he referred me to WIZKID, and I think that's the way the connection started. Because by the time I got let me not even jump. So basically what happened, like I told you before, I was on site. I was doing the recce for MOE. I was with MOE then. And on the roof talking about, like, they were trying to do like some renovation works. And I don't really like renovation works. I like to think from scratch, great ideas. And especially because everything's always so low budget. Everybody looking for low budget. So I was just bored by the entire thing. I was like, what's on this one that I was saying? Let's close and go back to the office, Jack. So just trying to like stimulate myself, I just picked up my phone. I just saw WIZKID is following you. I said, they don't hack my phone. I look up. I said, look, I open Instagram myself, saying a glitch or something. I said, what, this nigga following me? Why is he following me? From where, bro? Nah, so I was gassed. I screenshotted it, tweeted it. I was like, yo, I didn't put it on my story shower because I was like, if you open my story now, I'll be like, this nigga thirsty. Put it on Twitter. I was like, yo, this is crazy. But that was like a very like crazy moment for me, just like showing me how far I could go, you know? So literally I'm in the office this day now, I'm in the restroom because we've already spoken via Instagram DM saying, okay, he wants to do a project called Made in Lagos for cover art. London spoke about me. He wants to see what we can do together. I'm like, cool, no problem, man. You know, keeping it cool, you know. You said no more now, you know. But yeah, I'm just chilling casually in the restroom, and then some random phone number is calling me, and I'm just like, bro, because I don't like what I don't know. I don't like because I like strangers in my space, bro. I like to feel comfortable. I don't like numbers that I don't know. I'm like, who is this person? So I kind of like just picked up the call a little bit, like nonchalant. I'm like, hello. I was like, hey man. I come. I say hi. I say, hey man, what's up? It's Wiz. I say, hey, what's up, man?
Like it's just like it's some homie. Like if your bro.
Yeah, I mean, again, maximum composure.
Man, Steve, keep the steez on 100.
Yeah. But like a lot of things, man. I felt sick during that time. It was hard for me to keep sending sketches in. It was difficult, but he was very understanding, very like awesome. But everything just kind of fell apart. Yeah, so like just like, you know, going back and forth. There's a bit of like a delay on my end because I was sick. Because, you know, I was still in architecture then and I was doing like projects, so it was a lot to handle. But it was very understanding. And I think the last conversation we had was him saying, okay, he's going to call me in a couple of minutes or something like that. That couple of minutes now is like, is it 5 or 6 years now? Bruh, it's crazy. But like, I really appreciate the opportunity as well. I honestly appreciate like, because who am I? Like a year before then, I was just drawing random fine girls, you know, random shoes.
Random fine girls. Not girls, not boys.
No, because first of all, I think women are like probably one of the most beautiful things in the world.
Here we go. Talk.
It's but that mindset has kind of changed, but I still think they're very beautiful. It's just like there's more things that are beautiful now. Like I care more now about like intangible things, the things that we can feel, things we can't touch, we can't really describe, but it's there.
Wiz, in case you're watching this, come true.
Pull up, bro. So, my thing is like I also understand the fact because I think maybe the reason why he didn't get back to me is because I understand that he's got his own like team, and I think his team might have ideas that they would like to explore. Which is one thing that I've actually suffered a lot from, and I've mentioned it 1 or 2 times, but I also don't like to repeat myself too many times. Where if an artist is working on a project, if you can't bring me in to witness that project, to understand what this project is about, to really get into the nuances, I can't give you the best. It's not possible. You can't just tell me my concept is this, my idea is this. Go and give me a cover, and you think I'm going to do the most amazing work? Because I think I'm yet to do any cover apart from the Ira Star cover. I don't think I've done anything that I can say is in cover art because there's nothing that I've been engrossed in. There's nothing that I've been given a chance to like really digest, understand the work. I think there was a missed opportunity with Rema's recent album because the way the album came out, the energy in the album was the energy that was in my brain at that time. I was very explosive then. Like I didn't really care about drawing things fine again. I cared about just like expressing yourself really sharply. But again, we missed each other there. It was not aligned because I actually was commissioned to do like a cover, but I think he was working with another artist then and they were more like locked in then.
I think this is where we also go to where you mentioned that you're trying to create a design team where you're able to combine working as an artist as well as an architect, basically. Because I was going to ask that, are you now open to working on album art or like illustrations or commission art, if I'll say?
I'm still in the market. Commission art is a bit iffy for me because I've not been too proud about a lot of the commissions I've done in the past couple of years. So I need to, for me, I think it's very important for me to find my absolute signature as an artist before I start doing commissions again. I'm pretty selective about the project I work on. I've been blessed to have the opportunity to do some of like the most amazing covers for like some of the most amazing songs. There's nothing else to prove. So if I'm going to work on the cover, it needs to be something that is challenging or is worth my time. So I'm still open to it, but it's not something that I'm actively looking for, like to feed me or pay the bills or, So when it comes to covers, I'm looking for something amazing, like maybe again, WIZKID or Rema. I always want to work with Rema. He has an amazing branding. So he's an amazing person to work with. Always has stories. It's always going to be a trip when you work with Rema. But anyone else, like I'm currently working with a friend of mine. His name is Joey. So he's working on his own brand. So I'm helping him to build up his brand. Obviously, he's my friend, but I've also, because he's my friend, I've been opportunity to listen to a lot of the stuff that he has in the back burner. And there is a unique story to it. So I'm working with him on that.
Obviously, you're at a point where you can now pick and choose like the kind of projects that you accept. And I think that's also part of like the growth, because if you don't get to that point, then you just keep doing whatever comes, which is also not a good trajectory
It's not sustainable.
in the journey. If you were to advise a 10-year-old, not a 10-year-old, 17 or 18-year-old you, what would you tell that 17-year-old Qvxdri?
I would say be more intentional. I used to do things on vibes. There was really no end. I was just enjoying what I liked. I think be more intentional. It will help you grow faster, help you scale quicker, and it'll help you just scale faster, scale quicker, get to where you want to be easier. So be more intentional. Think, probably try to develop how to network and talk to people, because even till now I'm trying to develop that. I'm very introverted, very a little bit antisocial. So, and it's just not my character, and I don't like to do things out of character. So maybe try to develop the spirit of networking. I think also learn. Just be open to learning. You don't know everything. You're not in your bubble. And let go of your ego and your anger and unpack your trauma so that you can move on. And stop following girls.
I think that should have come first. I think that should have come of the core memories I have of you. Was literally you with woman. Like
me?
Yeah, bro.
I like what I like in it.
Yeah, fair enough. So what are we to expect from Qvxdri in the next 5 years? Where do we see Qvxdri?
Qvxdri. What do you have planned? So for me, my main focus right now is building the brand DBQ Studio. Just having a bit more stability, a bit more structure. I want it to be like a full-fledged practice that if I leave it for 6 months to a year, it's something that can stand on its own. So in 5 years, I should definitely be able to accomplish that. I think in 5 years, honestly, if I've still not done my first exhibition, I won't be mad in 5 years, because I don't know what it is I'm trying to say, what it is I'm trying to do. But it would be great if I've done like a couple of exhibitions in that 5 years. There's so much work in the back burner. There's so much being explored. There's so much stories to tell, but I can't give it to you half-assed. For the first year or two from 2021, again, I get very overwhelmed with ideas and I just want to let them out. And that's when I did with Love from Lagos. That's when I did Summer in Lagos, because I had all these ideas that I just wanted to get them out. But I think that helped me a lot to just kind of calm down and say, okay, I've done these 2 out. If someone wants to ask me, do you have any body of work, I can give them these 2. And then the rest of them, I have more time to sort of cook properly. So there's so much work to show. Art-wise, there's product design from DBQ, there's architecture, there's real estate that we're trying to push, developers we're trying to meet up with. There's so much to do, man. There's classes we're trying to set up, people to educate. We want to change the world, man. So hopefully in 5 years, our dreams come true. So stay locked.
Love it.
Yeah.
I wish you all the best with that, genuinely. So on a last note, there's a question we always ask every guest who comes on the podcast to serve as like a closure to the episode, which is that what are you doing to become a better version of yourself? So it could be in like your personal life, it could be in your career, it could be in any facet of life, it could be physical, like anything, literally, but just become like a better version of yourself. Anything you're doing, what are you doing at the moment?
Well, I think from now, I am unpacking, I'm learning and relearning. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to stuff about philosophy, about the subconscious, about trauma. I also try to do journaling or do some sketches about how I'm feeling, trying to understand why I feel the way I feel. There's a lot of things that I don't quite like. I've basically just been tooting my horn this entire thing, but there's things about myself that I still struggle with that I don't like, that definitely affects me on a day-to-day basis. So I'm trying to unlearn all of that, trying to understand why it's even there in the first place. Because obviously you're not trying to affect people with that. And, a couple of years, I should be married as a kid, and I'm trying to pass trauma. So like, I'm just trying to unlearn right now every day, figure out, okay, there's this one thing I do that's not nice. How can I change that? So I think step by step, just trying to identify these little things and like listen to people talk about, how to overcome whatever problems or difficulties you have. So it's just day by day, step by step. When it goes to the art and architecture side, I think I've already started like a system that I'm already used to. So it's not something I'm consciously doing. It's more about just doing the hard work, getting up every day to do one thing or another thing just to propel the journey.
Thank you so much for coming on the session. It's been so exciting speaking with you, and wish you all the best in your journey and your vision and goals. All right, ciao.
Thanks a lot, man.
Bye.